Yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what's going on out there? All of you happy hashers, yo, what's up, what's up? I see we got one person up in this house right now. What's going on, what's going on? If you're new here, definitely smash that like button and all that good stuff, guys. We got some great information to go through, sift our way through, hash our way through, all that good stuff, you know what to do. Damn, you got the 3090. Well, I got regular 3090. I'm probably gonna grab a TI in the next day or two. So they just came out. I've just got to make sure you can allocate the funds for this. I'll get one for testing, but man, we're gonna dig into that topic on this one because, like, if I go get one, I've got to drive an hour away. I've got a 3080 Ti, but not a, and then I got a lot of 3090s. But I don't see. But we'll dive into some of this. We'll dive into some of this. We'll go sift it, hash it through the information, and I'll give my viewpoint. We'll take a look at specs on it, who's releasing what, some of the cool features, what it's estimated to hash out the box on. That's a good one. And then finally, a little recap of what my thoughts are about running out and grabbing that stuff. So without further ado, it's like I couldn't help myself. I had to get up onto it. If you're old, you're going to have the theme song stuck in your head, guys. I got in one little fight. My mom got scared. She said, "You can't slap Chris Rock because your wife has no hair." Yo, that's too funny. I'll get up on that. Yep. I'm going to go to hell over that one. But that shit is fuck gold. That is funny. Oh my God. That had to have been the funniest thing. Can I? You know what I'm talking about, crypto culture. Get up onto that hype train on that one. All right. So, one of the interesting stuff that's coming out is the AMD preparing for Zen 4 for desktops, guys. Should launch in the next few months. They from a reliable leaker with the AMD CPU, codenamed Raphael. Productions as soon as next month. They might be, as long as they can get the allocation for the chip fab. Man, I miss your face too, bro. It's like no homo, man. I love you. One of these days we got to get it's kind of funny that you say that. I was just talking to Peter. So I was sitting there chit-chatting with him for a little bit. And he was feeling nostalgic too. He was talking about maybe doing a OG pub meetup at some point in time. Yo, I'm down. I'm totally down on that one. My man, crypto culture. And if you guys, for anybody who's tuning in late and all that good stuff, check out my man, Crypto Culture, on YouTube. He is a great wealth of knowledge from, kind of the financial institutional side of things, giving a peer in, giving his little insight on how he looks at the crypto space. Great knowledge, great guy. Crypto culture. Yo, no problem, my man. No problem. So, like I was saying, the AMD that's going to be coming out for Zen 4 architecture is going to be codename Raphael. according to a credible. Oh, I'm sure. Crypto culture. My man Kenzie. So AMD is now set to begin its mass production of the next installment in the Ryzen series at earliest in April or May. This means that the launch is just now months away, assuming, like I said, they are able to get the chip fabs and everything like that. So, I mean, it's like this is going to be, an AM4, AM5 type of deal. I think this will be one of the last architectures probably onto the AM4 if they make it an option there. I see them like kind of this being the next gen, hopefully for the new AM5 sockets, which will also lead into the Ryzen 7000 series. I mean, how much Monero can a Ryzen 7000 with performance cores and all this good stuff actually do? It'd be really cool to sit there and see AMD put HBM2 memory into the Ryzen 7 and then have actual standard RAM. So you got high performance and standard RAM allocation for the CPU. That would be an interesting take for Ryzen. I would dig it. I would actually want to get my hands on that architecture. What's up, Mikhail with the yo? Goblins, I wonder if these new CPUs will be an FPGA core in them. Oh yeah, culture. Oh yeah. It's I wonder if these new CPUs will have an FPGA core in them. No, because an FPGA would mean that you could redo the architecture on the chip. That's what an FPGA, if you're not familiar with that, is a field programmable gate array. It means that it's a bunch of logic gates. So I would say no. And Mikhail would know more about the FPGA world than me. I understand some of the hardware. I understand how the FPGA chip outputs what it does, but it takes an FPGA to create an ASIC, and all CPUs are technically ASICs because you cannot just on the fly reprogram them to do something completely different that it was never intended to do. You can manipulate a CPU, you can manipulate a GPU, but they're technically kind of more on the line of ASICs. So as people are like, oh, I hate ASICs, it's like, then you hate all technology because you're practically are on an ASIC. You can't take your CPU and tell it to act like a GPU and only do GPU stuff. It don't work like that. But I can do an FPGA like that. So it's interesting on how the FPGA technology, it's like now that me and Mikhail have an undisclosed location in somewhere United States of America, with us getting together like this, and on a business partnership and a long-term business partnership and a long-term friendship, I'm sure he's going to get me more involved with FPGAs. I've already sucked them into the ASIC side. So I'm sure once I'm there at the facility all the time, like with him, I'll be a little bit better understanding of FPGAs at his level. But as of right now, he's definitely got a better knowledge than me. Yep, see what I'm talking about? He knows more about that stuff. He's like, you fucking know it? Yeah, I know it, Mikhail. I know what's going to happen. All right. So, but with the with what NVIDIA is doing with your performance cores and your non-performance cores for power efficiency compute units versus just brute force compute units, I think AMD will transition to doing the same thing, probably with the Ryzen 7000 series. But I know that AMD is really good with memory allocation, so I would enjoy to see them like allocate a CPU and integrate a CPU with utilizing HBM2 memory. I think it's fast enough to keep up with the core, and you'll have performance memory and standard memory. So that would be really cool. Mo BCU, mo problems. Oh yeah. Maybe Intel. Maybe Intel is a solution. Maybe. So the Ryzen 7000 is expected to come featuring with 16 cores. Not that it really makes a huge difference that you have 16 cores unless you're putting them under workload. AE, doing computational workloads, whether it be mining or rendering or something like that. If you're trying to go, I want as many cores as I could possibly get my hands on for. If you're wanting much more monies, yep. Oh yeah. But it'd be cool for content wise if we got our hands on one. I'm not saying fucking build a fleet of them. Fuck no. Like you said, that's expensive. That's really expensive. But with where was I? Oh yeah. So the rumors suggested that it will have like about 170 watt target point on that one. I'm sure if they do the Raphael cores with higher core counts, it's going to use more power. But you're not going to get any benefit of multi-core with video games. Software developers are like trying to make up ways to where they can like try to utilize all the core features on this. So I mean, a lot of times you're lucky if a game manufacturer is going to utilize, three or four cores while you're gaming. That's why a lot of times here I forgot to put my phone on mute, and I'm gonna have I know I got an annoying person that's gonna try to call me like 100 times. So with that being said, I mean, you're going to see a benefit with the multi-cores with mining side of it if you're mining Monero. I mean, with my Ryzen 5950X, you're talking 13 kilohash a second on Monero, which that's big numbers on there. And this should be with a 7000 series, I would say 16 cores. I would take a stab and say that you're probably looking at about 18 kilohash a second on Monero, or any, it's like in different algorithms, of course, for CPU mining will be different, but oh my God, and I'm not sure if, what kind of a real good cooling solution will be for this while it's mining. Especially that you should be able to push and sustain 5 gigahertz across all 16 fucking cores. You heard it right. 5 gigahertz across 16 fucking cores, guys. That is amazing. So we're definitely going to be, with these next few generations, 5 gigahertz and above is going to start becoming the new standard, which will allow you to have quicker PCIe lanes for running M.2s with memory, with your OS on there. So you got a nice snappy OS on there, and then you'll have your your Gen 4 and Gen 5 PCIe being able to handle the newer graphics cards that are going to be coming out that are going to take advantage of having more data throughput. I mean, God, having a 16 a by 16 on Gen 5, you're not going to see any of that benefit through mining. It means nothing through mining. But if you're rendering or doing video editing or anything like that, that's going to be graphics card intensive for computing, you're going to see a big benefit. It should start pushing higher frame rate, doing 4K with max settings. Awesome stuff. Speaking of power, have you guys taken a look at the 3090's Ti's power consumption? I will get to that in a little bit. That's kind of will be the focus on it. I'm kind of going through some of the smaller topics before I start getting into the 3090 stuff, because I was kind of waiting for everybody to start piling in. Not everybody was here at the very, very beginning, so I've got a little filler piece here. Just because I'm an AMD CPU fan, you can love it or hate it. Intel does shit for mining. They're great for gaming. Great for a lot of other things, not for mining. But I've been using AMD since Bulldozer era and stuff like that. So I've dealt with AMD with some of their worst CPUs all the way until I've gotten my Threadripper where I love it and it performs amazing. Cannot hate it. I get 5 kilohash on 8 cores on a first gen Threadripper. I can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong. Now I got this bad boy water blocked. Woo! That is amazing. And then I see that Mikhail messaged me back. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this 3090 Ti stuff. Like, I like Intel, but their UI burns my eyes. I cannot handle the color blue all too well. Oh my god, yeah, their color scheme kind of sucks, but I mean, for gaming, they're not bad. They're not bad. But I'm more of an AMD fan, so, but not their GPU. I'm not. I have a love-hate relationship with their GPUs. Their 6600 XTs, I love them. But some of their old, like, they come a long way with their drivers. I'll give them that. I will give them that. But let's go ahead and get into the 3090 Ti stuff here. So, bam. So, MSI, it's like, this is some of the other stuff where they were announcing the 3090 Ti. And we're starting to get some of the first, kind of looks of how thick they were, triple DIN. This one's like a 3.5 DIN on the Supreme X. You're getting 10,752 cores, CUDA cores on there. Base frequencies of 1560, boost frequencies of 1965. Up to probably like 2,000, depending on. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a 3090. So they did some redesigns on there, and I'll get into that. So you have them still with the 24 gigabytes of RAM. You get a little bit better gigabits memory throughput. So instead of getting, like, I think it was getting like 800 and something mega transfers per second, somewhere right around there. Now it's supposed to be getting 1 gigabyte of transfers per second. So the throughput on the TI is a little bit better. But like I said, I'll get into some of why I think that is why and how it will benefit gaming and mining with this. So I don't even think that the mining numbers that have come out just as of lately are even going to be remotely accurate long term. So I do like the look of the Supreme X. It carries on the standard 3090 look on there, so no big surprise on that. But it is way chunkier. Like the regular 3090 Supreme X is like a 2.5 DIN. This one is like a 3.25 DIN. And then it's got a little plug up on here that looks like it. It looks like a little plug. Let me look at that. Yeah, this looks almost like a plug, but I would think that most people's cases might cut that off. So I'd have to get my hands on one of these to see what that is. That might be like Thunderbolt native or a USB-C connection. I don't know, for like VR headsets. I don't know, but that's weird rendering on there. Can't tell what it is. But definitely looks sleek. And then this almost looks like the Founders Edition boards. And this is where I find interesting. So this is the front side of the 3090 Ti. Very standard. You've got your the brand new standard, I believe, that NVIDIA is going to be utilizing moving forward, which is going to be a 16-pin connector, the 16-pin connector will hook up 3 VGA 8 pins to it for a total of 600 watt peak power getting pulled through that plug. Definitely have some different. I think the 3090s that I have, I believe they're all for your inductor coils. They're all using, I think they were the LR22s or the LR21s, but I think they are the 22s. So we've got the same inductor rail there. We've got the same power management right here. So let me see here. We've got our 5-volt rail here. We've got another 5-volt initialization rail right here. I do not see the PEX rail. Usually the PEX rail is somewhere around here. It might be on the back side of this. We'll get to that in a second here. But I do know that this is going to be a 5-volt rail, and I know that this is going to be a 5-volt rail. And I'm wondering how they really split this up, because usually the core is, you got your core and you got your uncore on these things. So you got your high level output, and then you've got your computing units and all the mathematical calculations in the uncore. So it kind of delivers it in two ways and processes it with all the memory. And I'd be curious to see what how they do the power management completely on this board. But you can see that they've got 2 main power rails, or no, I'm sorry. We got 3 main power rails right here. So I mean, it's got the capability of pulling 600 watts without an issue. We got 4 shunt resistors on the front side, 2 shunt resistors going here. So usually when I see this, this is for the core itself, and this will probably be done for a dedicated memory rail. That's how I would do it, but that's just me. Now, the interesting part is that they came out with GDDR6X 2 gigabyte memory modules not too long ago. So I think some of what they were having an issue with is trying to re-architecture how this card was originally fashioned, because they fashioned this thing to take in 24 gigabytes of VRAM on 24 modules. This time, they've got it down onto half of the modules. So, with that being said, this is the backside. Bam! Look at that. We've got no memory modules on the back. We do have a big power rail back here. So, we've got SP caps over here. I'm not sure if that's part of the core, or is this for the extra power dedicated for the memory rail. This could be directly for memory, guys. If so, that's pretty big. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be a binned 3090. So they basically had a bunch of 3090s laying around that were baller, that hadn't gone to anything. And, you know, it could have been a part, you know, they were having issues trying to get certain parts in, or they were re-architecturing stuff because a new memory type came out and they knew that the TI would take more advantage of it, which also gave them the better bandwidth on the memory. My thing on this is that because they've taken away one aspect of heat off the PCB. Now, if you put active cooling onto that PCB, guys, your memory module is going to get better cooling because you're going to actually be able to wick the heat directly off the PCB instead of trying to wick the heat through the PCB through a memory module. It puts all the heat into the memory, into the PCB. So I think they just had to re-engineer how they were laying out the PCB a little bit so that they can eliminate memory modules. So that should alleviate a lot of the thermal throttling issues that I have noticed with 3090s. The memory modules, you get runaway temperatures and thermal throttling. I'm going to have a video coming up on that pretty soon here, where I'm going to be doing a copper plate mod to one of my 3090s for the Win Ultras. This bad boy, the memory module gets up to about 110 Celsius and thermal throttles itself to death. And I've tried to re-thermal paste it and everything. This one is just going to be a little bit of a bastard about it. I'm sure it would benefit greatly from being water blocked, and I have the capabilities of doing that, but I want to see if I can get, I mean, I've got three of my 3090s in my Octominer case that is got a little bit, two of them have a little bit higher memory temps that I'd like to see, but the one is being affected very hard. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to where it gets a little bit more fresher air. See if that helps. If that doesn't help, then the copper mount. And if that doesn't help, then water block. So, I mean, I've got to be able to do a process of elimination of what's going to benefit this GPU the best. I've already re-thermal pasted it and repatted it. It helped a little bit. But that little bit was only a little bit. So I'm not sure. I want to open it up one more time and give it a go with replacing the rest of the little thermal pads that are in there and doing that. And I'm hoping fixes it. But if not, copper plate. If not, water block. In that order. So be lots of content going in that direction on that one. But getting back to this. This is where I think we're going to gain a lot more performance, is that we're actually going to be able to cool the PCB down properly, which means that any kind of memory performance that was left on the table, whether it be for gaming or mining, we're going to be able to get that back and some. So some of the hash rates that I've seen, I think, are because they're still utilizing the standard 3090 kernels for Linux. But before I get into that, I want to get into one of the cards that I liked. Well, two of them, and they're fucking interesting. They are super interesting. And I wasn't able to like get all the pictures off of this until they finally came out with a final rendering on this. So you guys know I love my Kingpins, guys. So check this out. The Kingpin, guys. Yo. So this will be this will be the look on their hybrid. So they're going to still use their OLED. It's like a mini OLED screen. You can have it show power rating, fan spin, any kind of information that you can get. Up here, there'll be switches on the back side that control that. There'll be a 3-way toggle switch up on top right here that will allow you to go from standard GPU overclock and to LN2 mode. And LN2 mode, what that does is it takes off any kind of power restrictions that you may have had on the card. It allows you to burn up your card if you'd like to. No problem. It's your card. You can kill it if you want to. And then, of course, as standard on a lot of the generations of Kingpins, there is a pinout that comes with that you can hook up to special metering devices for temperature, wattage, all that good stuff. It's a little header with cables that you can plug in right here. I love that. It is a wealth of data, guys. And of course, this fan here, all it's there for is to cool the memory modules down. It's basically got a pass-through radiator. So amazing. But what I'm most interested in is that it has two, I say, 16-pin. So this thing has two 600-watt cables, guys. Two of them. Yes, I said two. This card is capable of pulling upwards of 1,200 watts, guys. 1,200 watts. Oh my God. That is an astronomical amount of power being pulled in through one card. And then here are the switches, the little dip switches that I was talking about that control what gets displayed on this OLED up here. But oh my Lord. So I could sit there and hook all that stuff up to that, have 1,200 watts or so flowing through this card. It's got a RGB, addressable RGB here, I believe. And I believe it's also got a little fan connector or something like that. One of these two are like a fan connector. One's like a pinout for like the OLED or something. And then you can see over here, they're all the MLs, the micro capacitors here, and not the SP capacitors. So these are the smaller, much more accurate capacitors in here for highly controlling power for the VGA core itself. Oh yeah, Matthias. This is how you burn a house down. 1,200 watts. I mean, this thing with all the SPK, I mean, look at how much they're trying to control power here. And yes, guys, this is gold here. Gold here. I would suspect that this is all ground. So just in case anything, don't let metal touch this. I have not experimented and see if this passes power or ground. I would suspect ground though. You wouldn't expose metal unless it's ground, especially when it's around fittings. That usually tells me it's definitely ground. But Yeah, 1200 watts. And I bet you anything that if you put it into the right circumstance, you could probably see 1500 watt pull from this. Because you got to remember, like the standard Kingpin right now, the regular 3090 with 3 8-pin in there, right? That should be 600 watts, right? But that card, under the right condition, will ask for 1000 watts to 1100 watts. So if I'm giving it 6 VGA 8 pins, you have the potential of pulling upward of 1500 watts, guys. That's like the biggest leap in power usage for any GPU. NVIDIA was just like, power usage? Yeah, fuck it. we don't need to worry about them things. Power usage is nothing that we care about around these here parts. So yeah, this one is time to look up house insurance. Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. The other one, which is the competition to the Kingpin. And this one, I would love, even if I couldn't keep it, I would love to get my hands on it and hash on it. I would so hash on this thing. So if any of you have never seen, and it's the thumbnail to this live stream, guys. Bam! We have the 3090 Ti Hall of Fame OC Lab Edition. Bro, this thing. Oh, white PCB. You don't have actual pinouts for your meters, but at least it's got a section for it, so you can easily solder in something. Again, with the two 16-pin connectors on here, as you can see, bam, in a standard location, so I like that. Mikkel, I'm just not doing it today. Just not today. I'll get one, fucker. I'll get a 3090 Ti. Fucking peer pressuring me into it. Whenever the wife asks me why I bought a 3090 Ti, I'm blaming you. Be like, Mikkel made me do it. It's not my fault. Do it for both of us. Like, damn. I would love to get my hands on this Hall of Fame. I bet you this thing fucking hashes like a monster. Mikkel, blame it on me. It's okay. It's okay. I'm cool with that. And so here's some of the information on these 3090s. So 10,752 CUDA cores. It's on the G102 350. So it's basically the same thing as the 3090. So no LHR on this, boys. No LHR. Woo! Performance mode, you'll get 1920 on the overclock, and standard mode 1860, whatever. What I'm interested in is this 384-bit bus rate on there. We've got a, they're trying to say it's a 516 watt max. Maybe in standard fucking mode. You go to lean on this thing, it's gonna drink all the power. All the power. It's gonna be like, give me all that power. Drink it all down. God, And I like how they did this too, because like they did not the PCB's white. How hard is it to make a complete theme? No, we get white GPUs with the PCB being green or black. But they did it right here. And as you see here, you're getting they're weaning away from HDMI and leaning heavy towards DisplayPort. I prefer DisplayPort. The video output on it is way better, more compatible. Here's another feature. Now, I hope they come in this fucking case. This was what, like, I was like, sold. I want this. Especially if it comes with this case. Oh my dear Lord, I fucking want this. Look at that fucking display on this. Oh my God, it's like loud, proud, in your face, guys. I believe the case even comes with a water block for it. Bro, I don't care what the price is on this. I want it. Even if it's just for my own personal PC, I so want it. I fucking hate white builds. I really hate white builds. But for this, I would make a fucking exception. 100%, dude. Oh my God. Ace Driver. No, they are not LHR. They are using the exact same GA102 core as the 39, the non-TI. So no LHR, uninhibited amazingness. So yes, for their price point, I'm not really big on trying to get a whole bunch of them. But this bad boy, if it came with this nice hard case and all of this stuff in there, the water block, that cool ass screen right there, I'd be like, shut up and take my money. Shut up and take that money. I mean, Galax just does an amazing job with their 3090, and that's who this is. Galax, Galax. I hope I'm saying it right way. So this is the Hall of Fame Overclocked Lab Edition. So they go in and laboratory benchmark, not the GPU. They benchmark the individual memory module before it even gets soldered onto that board. And then when it gets soldered on the board, they double check to make sure during the soldering process that they didn't hurt the memory module. This thing, they like over-engineered this. This is like, if engineers wanted to like show off, the Galax Hall of Fame edition is that. They sat there, every component went on there, was tested to be the best of the best that they could get their hands on. And for that, golf clap. I'd hash on it. I mean, their target, their max wattage that they're saying that it's going to get, no. If you sit there and you lean on this card, it's pulling every bit of 1200 watts. Every bit. They wouldn't have put a second 600 watt cable on there if they didn't know it could do it. I would love to get either this one or get the 3090. The Kingpin 3090 version, but I would have to upgrade my computer case so that I can get more radiators in there. With 1200 watt peak power, basically, I don't have enough radiator for it. I barely have enough radiator for a Threadripper, and a Threadripper gets fucking hot already. I mean, hot. That's just how they run. I would have to redo my case, get one more bigger radiator in there, and then I'd be able to put a 3090 in here. I mean, a 3090 alone almost needs a 360 radiator on its own, nothing else attached to it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to sit there and see what the power, how under a real world load, what the typical power usage is going to be for a 3090 Ti gaming, and then how low can I get that thing and still maintain hash rate. And then, this is what y'all are here for. You don't care about how this thing games. You don't care about how this thing looks. You want to know how much wattage does it take? How low can I get that wattage? And what's the hash rate? Well, we've got some early testing with that. I wish the world would make fucking dark mode on everything. Why default whites, people? And you give no other place. All right. Either way, I digress. You guys can take white too. Actually, I am not sure if I've got that setting on here, so give me 1 second, guys. I'm not sure if my display has HDR. Yeah. I'm going to take HDR off real quick here so it's not so violently white for you guys and it's a little readable. So we'll let it kind of reset itself real fast here. All right, that looks readable now. Hey. So, I mean, we know the 3090, right around 300 watts. You're getting between 119 to 128 mega hash. Now, about 450 watts. I would say you're probably looking at a minimum of 400 watts at 135 mega hash to start off with. Remember, guys, they're going to be hitting this card as if it's still a 3090. None of the Linux drivers for mining software have been up. The mining software people have to get their hands on these too, test out, see how they can integrate the card, where they can put the performances in, because they're using a different kind of memory module. Now they can kind of lean on the DAG, hit the DAG file a little bit differently for Ethereum and other mining protocols. So it will, yeah, Matthias, dark mode is life. Oh my God, yes. So I'm really interested on seeing what this card final form of what its real true performance will be. I would like to get my hands on another Kingpin 3090 Ti, but if not, I will settle for a EVGA for the Win 3 Ultra Gaming as their top tier EVGA, which will be just under the Kingpin. And sometimes I've gotten a few for the Win 3 Ultra Gaming that perform just like the Kingpins. So some of those Kingpin status for the Win 3 Ultras do get slipped out. They don't bin every single chip out there. Sometimes during the assembly process, sometimes it straightens, it fixes, the heat cycle that it goes through fixes something. And by the time they're done with it, it performs just a little better sometimes. Not always, but I would sit there and say that you're going to have a better chance if you get a for the Win 3 Ultra Gaming versus getting an XC3 or a regular for the Win 3. But I'd be interested even on the regular 3090 Ti where my power will actually come out to. Can I get it to be 350 to 360 watts instead of pulling 450? Because you also got to remember, but take off that white screen. Wow, every time I look at my camera, I'm being blinded here. But you got to remember, if you have a graphics card that is consistently pulling 450, right? That means, wait for it, you need to have a 1200 watt power supply to run 2 of these, just to have the headroom on it. I mean, just think about it. You're gonna not even. No, well, yeah, because you'd be talking 900 watts. So you'd want a 1200 watt power supply. Yeah. I stand by it. I stand by it. So 1200 watt to 2000 watt power supplies are going to be soon the new standards, guys. Because you got to think, they're going to be coming out with their flagship, the 4000 series. And I know there's some controversy about NVIDIA launching their 4000 series soon. But, you know, it's like, could it have actually been a supply shortage for them on trying to roll this stuff out? And they wanted to roll this stuff out a while ago, but there was delay after delay trying to get everything done. Yeah, and for a Kingpin, you're going to need 2 PSUs. Oh, God. Think of it this way. So, oh, yeah. You'll need a dedicated... Well, no. Think of it this way. So, if you're a LN2 overclocker, right? You're going to want a 2,000 watt power supply just for the GPU. And then you can do a 1,000 watt power supply for the motherboard. Because look at the way that these motherboards are now. You know, CPU and motherboard with fans and a little pump to keep the CPU cool. You're 600 watts right there. 800 watt power supplies minimum for a modern motherboard. Bro, that's gonna be insane, you know, moving forward. That, you know, you're only gonna be, if you want a state-of-the-art gaming computer, you gotta have 220 and a 3000 watt power supply. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Exactly, Matthias. Exactly. Always want to adhere to that 80% rule. But think of it like if somebody was just wanting to put that all together for their normal, everyday, daily driver PC, you don't want like a 3,000 watt server grade power supply plugged into 240 volt. Who fucking has power like that? Be like, I need to have a 240 volt plug for my dryer and my computer in the living room. You know, so you're like, you got 60 amps, one to your dryer and one just to your dedicated PC. That's crazy. It will be interesting moving forward. You know, it's like that whole Moore's law is dead. So I mean, very interesting on how they're doing the power delivery on this too. I do want to get my hands on this just so I can pull some data. I don't think, in my viewpoint, go run out and grab these for mining. You're talking about a 10, 15% uptick over the 3090. If you are still in the market of getting a computer together or something like that, and you're like, I got to have the best of the best, then more power to you. This is for people with deep pockets to go, yes, I have to have it. And that same person is going to take that GPU when the 4090 comes out, and they're going to sell that GPU to grab the 4090. You have that particular group of people, that's who's going to grab a lot of these 3090 Ti's. You're going to see major enthusiasts doing that, or eccentric rig builders. Stop it. I said stop. I don't know why it's pointed at me. They're claiming it's, you know, it's a step down from the Titan series, you know, or your Tesla series cars, you know, your A100. It's kind of your like in between your like, what is it, the A4000s or something like that, or like kind of like in between all that stuff. Interesting stuff. They're claiming it's a daily usage. I think with the memory modules being all on one side, I think it's gonna perform better as a daily driver than the 3090 did with cooling solution. I'll just say that now. I think that card will stay cooler. But price to hash rate. So let's say that card is pulling 400 watts, right? We'll call it 400 watts. Say I'm good enough. I get a good card. I can bring it down there that far. Pull out my calculator. So 400 watts divided by the 135 mega hash. So we've got 2.96. We'll just call it 3 watts per hash. Okay, so 3 watts, just under 3 watts per hash, right? So my 3090. So I get about 300 watts. I get on average 120 mega hash. I get 2.5 watts per mega hash. So the 3090 is actually more power efficient than the TI. So from that standpoint alone, from mining, I do not recommend grabbing the 3090. I do not believe that it is worth it. I think that you would get a better value out of grabbing overpriced non-LHR 3080s or grabbing 3090s over the 3090 Ti, especially if you're just eyeballing it for mining. So you're less power efficient. You're getting more hash rate, but now you need way more power supply. Is that worth it? No. It's for an enthusiast. It's somebody who's wanting to flex on Instagram. Look, I've got the 3090. I've got all this power to do 8K. What monitor do you have? 4K. Why do you need 8K? Because it's 8K. You know, it's the Instagram flex type deal. I don't see enough performance for the value proposition. You're talking $3,000 to $4,000 GPU for 10% more uptick and a 10% more power usage. That alone, I mean, it's like sitting there and going, oh, I brute forced it, so I get more performance. Well, you brute forced it with power instead of an efficiency. You didn't make a better product. You just made a product that can handle the heat load. That's why these cards are triple thick, almost forged in, because they need the thermal headroom to push this kind of wattage. Because you got to remember, for every watt you produce, every watt you use, you're making 3.41 BTUs of heat that now needs to be dissipated. And these coolers are showing how they're doing it. Matthias, no. I do not. I'll say no to that one. In the pretense that if you design the card to be able to handle the temperature load, it should be good. What will kill the card will be a lack of maintenance, basically. You don't catch the fan blades, the fan motors dying. You get thermal runaway. That can kill a card. Dust, that'll kill a card. Bugs, if you're in an area where you got a bug problem in that particular area, not that you're living in the ghetto or anything like that, you can be in the country farmland area and you're dealing with bugs out there. Bugs are everywhere. But if you get a bug in there, short circuit something while you're gaming or something, spill something on it. But I think under normal usage, if you're just daily driving it, you're not pushing it, I think it's fine. But the moment that you start pushing it to the upper limit, just like anything, if you're racing your car and, it's like as soon as your car gets in a high RPM, you run the chance of blowing the motor. Not saying that you're going to, but you run the chance. It's the same thing with any time you overclock any GPU, you run that chance destroying that GPU. So I mean that statement kind of blankets towards almost every GPU ever made, just because they're only designed to hold so much wattage. So even a card that uses low wattage, you're thinking, I can overclock the hell out of this thing, smack it around like a redheaded stepchild, and it should be good to go. And you'll find out that those older cards will blow up just as fast as these new ones. Even mining 24/7. Nope. I've got GPUs that have been mining for 4 years straight. Not one card blown up on me. What does it at that point for GPU mining is not watching temperatures. At the end of the day, it's going to be dirt, bugs, or temperature. That's going to be your three killers, not the actual usage. Did the card will last 7 years like some lower watch cards? It depends. It really depends on when or why they'll die. I've got high power cards, so I will find out. I mean, I've got 1080 Ti's that have been mining, and you know, got to remember back in the day, 1080 Ti's were looked at as the high power card. So 200 watts running 24/7, and it's been mining on 1080 Ti's for these 1080 Ti's I have been mined on for 5 years. 5 years, none of them have died. I think it's because I pull them apart at least once a year to give them a good cleaning, but every month or two, I open them up, de-dust them minimum once a month to once every other month. And I've got other GPUs where I've got RX 580s, no fans on them. I physically took off all the fans and put them into a server case. I got no temperature problems with them. None. And I'd love to get more server cases. So, I mean, if you're going to be mining and you're going to be looking at mining long term, start looking into server cases, because the accelerated airflow in a server case will help save your GPU no matter how much wattage it wants to utilize. Now, there is that caveat where you've let it use too much power and it just burns out because you allowed it to unregulated power beyond its cooling capabilities. But a responsible miner, like I think you are, you know, you're looking at cards that should last a long time. Oh yeah, they're real good. And these, you know, the 3090s and the 3090 Ti, they haven't been out long enough. We don't know if they are subject to any of the other, you know, if it's got a wattage heat killer problem. We'll find out over time, you know, for sure. I've got 3080s, 3080 Ti's, 3090s. Eventually I'll have a 3090 Ti. And we'll do deep dives on this stuff. We'll see where the power limit is, where its temperature likes to live. And, you know, every year we'll look at this and look back. Hey, look, it's lasted another year. Hey, look, it lasted another year. Oh my God, 3 years and this 1200 watt card is still here. Holy shit. So, I mean, the only thing we can do is just test on it and see what it does, and hope to God and pray that, you know, none of this stuff burns up on us as we mine, of course. You are right, Matthias. A 100 watt card versus a 450 watt card are not the same. But if you can get the wattage low, I believe with as thick as that radiator is, I mean, you're talking a radiator thicker than it's like thicker than both my hands put together. and then you pray that's good enough. I think it's pretty. I mean, like with my 3090s, I see issues. Once I get the Ti, I'll see if it has the same memory temp problems. I think that's going to be the only issue with the 3090 or the 3090 Ti is mem temp problems. Yeah, we'll see them over time. You know what? I have them in a hot mining room during the summertime. We will find out at that point. Okay? During this summer, we'll find out if that 3090 Ti wants to survive or not. I'll put it through a torture test for you. Just for you, Matthias. I'll try not to kill my card, but I'll definitely put it through its paces this summer. All right. So anybody else got any comments or questions before I head up out of here? We are at a little over that 1 hour mark. Yeah. And Matthias, I do have a copper memory mod coming for my 3090. So as soon as that gets in, I'm hoping this week, please, because if this works, I've been hearing reports of people being able to drop memory temps by 20 Celsius with the copper mod. I'm gonna pray that this is the same for me, and we'll get my my 3090 temperatures under fucking control. That is my goal for my 3090s. So does anybody else got any comments or questions before I sign up out of here, guys? Definitely smash that Lizzie like button if you've made it this far. Subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. If you would like to support the channel, I have Patreon now set up, guys, where I will be doing for like the VIP people, which will be a $25 tier. Like once a week, maybe do a Sunday sermon, if that's something that you guys would like, but at least do a monthly update of what's going on in the family mind, things that you would like to see more of, things that you would like to see less of. Let you VIP people help shape what this channel is going to be doing moving forward. Once I get the mine up and going and we are transitioned down closer to the mine, we'll be doing a lot of videoing from the mining facility itself, guys. Yo! So that'll be fun and exciting. Have a lot of fun doing that, guys. Yes, Matthias, the copper mod is something that you might, especially if you're having thermal throttling problems on your 3090 while mining. I will give links to where to get it. We'll do some testing on it and see if it's worth it. It is a little pricey. It was like $100 and some odd. But if it fixes my GPU memory temperatures, I'm getting them for all of my 3090s. I think this is like the same setup that the Kingpins use. So if it is, then this should really work beautifully. Super excited. So, guys, definitely check out the like I was saying, the Patreon and all that good stuff. Because if you're in the VIP section, whenever we get the family mine up and going, we will be offering to our VIP members the ability to host. Terms and conditions apply, of course, all that good stuff. But yeah, Matthias is like, I'm at 90C memory, but for that summer, it can't be great. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Matthias. So we'll do some testing on that. If it turns out to be really good, I'm going to get it for all of my 3090s, like I said. and then I'm gonna recommend everybody else to do it with their 3090s to make their 3090 perform what a $2,000 to $3,000 GPU you would expect the performance out of. That's just me, guys. With that, guys, definitely smash that Lizzie like button, all that good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, guys. So thank you for all of you sticking around till the end. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. Yo, and stay savage. Yeah.